Imagine a king so powerful that no one dared question his authority. Then imagine that same king locked inside a dark castle cell for 6 months, beaten, humiliated, and completely forgotten by the realm. This wasn't Robert Baratheon. It wasn't Aerys II after the rebellion. This happened years before the fall of the Iron Throne. And the consequences of this single event transformed a proud but flawed king into the paranoid tyrant history remembers as the Mad King. It also elevated one young knight into legend, a man named Ser Barristan Selmy. This is the story of the Defiance of Duskendale, the rebellion that changed Westeros forever. Welcome to Histories of Westeros. If you enjoyed deep dive into the works of George R.R. Martin's, kindly subscribe, like, and comment for more. When Aerys II Targaryen inherited the Iron Throne in 262 AC, few believed disaster awaited. He was charming, handsome, generous, and filled with grand ambitions. His closest friend, Tywin Lannister, became Hand of the King while still in his early 20s. Together, they appeared unstoppable. Tywin restored order to the Seven Kingdoms, strengthened the royal treasury, crushed corruption. It made the crown wealthy once again. Meanwhile, Aerys enjoyed the glory. For nearly 2 decades, the realm prospered. But beneath the surface, cracks were already beginning to form. Aerys hated sharing praise. Every victory credited to Tywin wounded his pride. Whenever nobles praised the hand, the king became more jealous. That jealousy slowly poisoned one of the greatest friendships in Westerosi history. By the early 270s AC, Aerys had grown suspicious of almost everyone around him. No one realized just how dangerous his growing paranoia would become. The wealthy port town of Duskendale sat along Blackwater Bay. Its rulers, House Darklyn, had served kings faithfully for centuries. Lord Denys Darklyn believed his prosperous town deserved greater rights. He requested a royal charter, granting Duskendale more independence from the Iron Throne. Tywin rejected the proposal. The crown could not allow powerful ports to weaken royal authority. Most lords would have accepted the decision. Denys Darklyn did not. Instead, he planned something almost unimaginable. He would force the king himself to negotiate. Against Tywin's advice, Aerys decided to travel personally to Duskendale. Tywin warned him repeatedly. The king should never place himself in another lord's power. But Aerys ignored him, believing no lord would ever dare challenge a Targaryen king. Aerys entered Duskendale with only a modest escort. It was a catastrophic mistake. The castle gates slammed shut. The royal guards were overwhelmed. Lord Denys Darklyn and his wife, Lady Sarala of Myr, seized King Aerys II alive. For the first time since the Dance of the Dragons, a reigning Targaryen monarch had become a prisoner. The entire realm stood frozen. No one knew what would happen next. For half a year, Aerys remained imprisoned inside Duskendale. Accounts suggest he was confined in miserable conditions. He was neglected, humiliated, and stripped of the majesty expected of a king. Outside the walls, Tywin Lannister assembled a massive army. The town was completely surrounded. No food entered. No one escaped. Yet Tywin refused to storm the castle. If the defenders killed Aerys during an assault, the realm would descend into chaos. So the siege continued. Day after day, week after week, month after month, many lords quietly began wondering whether Prince Rhaegar should simply replace his father. Tywin himself reportedly considered the possibility. The Iron Throne had never appeared so vulnerable. Then came one of the greatest feats in Kingsguard history. A young knight named Ser Barristan Selmy volunteered for what seemed an impossible mission. Instead of leading an army, he entered Duskendale alone. Under the cover of darkness, Barristan slipped past the guards, climbed the castle walls, avoided patrols, and located the imprisoned king. Without raising the alarm, he rescued Aerys from captivity. The two escaped the castle alive. Only after the king was safely outside did Tywin order the assault. The rebellion collapsed almost immediately. Barristan Selmy's courage became legendary. From that day forward, he was celebrated throughout the Seven Kingdoms as one of the greatest knights who ever lived. Aerys had survived, But the man who emerged from Duskendale was no longer the king who had entered. His vengeance was absolute. Lord Denys Darklyn was executed. Nearly all of House Darklyn was wiped out. House Hollard, whose members had supported the rebellion, was almost completely exterminated as well. Lady Sarala was tortured before her execution. The once proud House Darklyn disappeared from history. Duskendale itself eventually recovered, but its ruling family never did. The king had sent a clear message. No one would ever dare imprison a Targaryen again. Although Aerys escaped physically, he never escaped mentally. The months of captivity shattered him. He became terrified of betrayal. He distrusted nearly everyone around him. He increasingly relied on the pyromancers of the Alchemist Guild. He refused to cut his hair or nails for long periods. He suspected conspiracies everywhere, even from his own son, Prince Regan. His relationship with Tywin Lannister completely collapsed. Years later, when Tywin resigned his hand, the kingdom lost its strongest stabilizing force. Without Tywin, Aerys' paranoia spiraled into madness. That madness eventually led to the execution of Rickard Stark and Brandon Stark. It provoked Eddard Stark, Robert Baratheon, Jon Arryn, and countless others into open rebellion. In many ways, Robert's rebellion did not truly begin at Harrenhal. It began behind the walls of Duskendale, because the king who emerged from that prison was no longer capable of ruling wisely. The Defiance of Duskendale was not merely a failed rebellion. It was the moment the Targaryen dynasty began its irreversible descent toward destruction. And by saving his king that day, Ser Barristan Selmy also unknowingly preserved the very ruler whose madness would one day bring the dragon's dynasty crashing down. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of Westeros, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which event from A Song of Ice and Fire you'd like to explore next. Until next time, the histories of Westeros are never as simple as they first appear.